This is Maria with Me at Zero, and I want to thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing to my YouTube channel for our conversations, for the love, for the support, for friendship. And I asked the question in one of my previous posts in regards to, are men supposed to be happy in a relationship? And a lot of times as women, we see things one-sided because of everything we hear in our society. Even when we talk about the wedding, it's her day. It's his day too. He's getting married. Um, you know, the reality is that a lot of times what we do is what we've seen for generations, what we've seen in our circle. For me growing up, grandparents really men didn't go to appointments, they didn't go to school, they really didn't do much of any family life other than work. My dad was the exception to the rule, considering he was in Puerto Rico. I have 8 brothers and a sister. And he was the one that took us to appointments. He would show up to school. He was truly a mom dad. And to this day, I appreciate everything that he did for me. And it's possibly why I have some views. It's taken me a long time to figure this out. Many failed relationships, just talking to my siblings, talking to men in general in society, just looking. And we can blame divorce, to texting, to technology. We can blame, at the end of the day, I think it comes to us individually of what we think, of what we honor, what we value. And so I think that when we look as women, when we look at men, we don't value the same in relationships. We think that their happiness should depend on how happy we are based on how much we have or what he does for me or how big of a house I have. Sometimes it has to do with gifts and things. When in reality is about connection. It's about peace of mind. It really is about appreciation, loyalty, and respect. I think some of the things that men value highly. I even asked my siblings for some feedback and some friends. Women think everything a man wants is sex. They pay, everything is, oh, it's Valentine's Day, I'll give him sex. Everything is sex. Honestly, I'm thinking that sex is pretty much a given when you're married. And men like to be taken care of as well. They like to be considered in decisions and just their presence. I think if we looked at men, because a lot of times I hear people, their husbands work 100 hours, in a pay period, and we still want them to come home and take us to dinner and do all this stuff. They're exhausted. I'd be exhausted. We don't think outside, again, because we view them different. I hear a lot of women, I just want a man to pay my bills and provide for me, and that's what a man's supposed to do. And I'm just like, what? Men have love languages too, just like we do. Sometimes they're very similar. Their needs are very similar than ours. However, they have to be met in order for him to be happy. Whether it's words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service. For each of us, it's different, and it has to be met whether he's a guy or not. And he's not a punk if he is showing you emotions, if he's letting you know that he's unhappy because everybody else is unhappy. Well, this person sucks it up, and we're gonna stay together because we have this house, this car, this bill. Because if you become a bill, what am I getting out of a bill? For me, Maria, I'm not getting into a bill. What kind of bill am I getting into? I thought long and hard before getting into debt over my car, and it's a bill. And it drives nice, it looks nice. I have to take care of it. And as a bill, then you're looked at as to what am I getting out of this relationship? Heartache, headaches, affection, arguments, indifference. So a lot of what we go through, they go through in the same fashion. Sometimes we make a whole chapter out of someone who is supposed to be a page in our life, a lesson. And I've been there and done it. Sometimes until we go through the lesson, we don't really learn. It doesn't stick. And we have to realize that each person is individually built different, that we process things different. Some of us get over stuff quicker than other people. We really process things faster. And it's just the way that God created each of us. For many women, it's about what I can compare my life to somebody else. It has to be on social media. It's not real. I have to post it. It has to be better than, well, look what this person did for theirs. What are you doing for me? You know, I want a bigger gift. I want a bigger this. I want a bigger house, a bigger car, a nicer car. And for me, as I've shared in previous videos, if you have not watched, I do suggest, I have not been, you know, in my life, I can't really say that a man has done anything for me that I haven't been able to do myself. I don't own any jewelry. One pair of real earrings is all I have. Haven't been on any, you know, vacations, and I hear people talk about how these you know, men go out of their way to, you know, take them on this sweet romance and buy them, you know, I can't talk about any of that. It has not made me bitter. And I really pray for women that it makes you hopeful that there's good men out there. But they want happiness too. They want respect. And I just believe in general in life, when you value the people in your circle, the energy that you give, you receive. And if you're not receiving what you should know your worth, then sometimes it's time to just walk away and call it quits. But we get caught up in the moment. We get caught up, you know, now we have a kid. Now, you know, the next step is marriage. And we jump into things that actually will create a scar in our life. It will break us in a way, because I believe that every relationship, regardless of who ended the relationship, it shapes us and it really does change us. Whether small or in a larger scheme, it really does have, you know, it leaves something with us. And so I just think that if we valued men the way sometimes we value our children. I hear some moms talk about their kids when they're dating. Well, he shouldn't be dating her, or she shouldn't, you know, he shouldn't be dating her, or she shouldn't be dating him because he got nothing. And, you know, we put these dollar signs and these expectations in regards to benefit monetarily, things that we see that are palpable. But are we really thinking about spiritual? Are they moving in the right direction? Do they connect? You know, are they good for each other? Are they doing for each other? Versus a one-sided relationship that turns into a relationship that turns into a crappy marriage that's not going to last. Commitment. I'm not committed to craziness. I'm not committed to drama. I'm not committed to any foolishness. I thank God for change and growth. I thank God that I've gotten to know myself, that I'm in a place in life where, you know, I'm always flexible and I'm always changing, but I'm also expanding. I'm also seeing life differently, men differently, relationships differently, friends differently. Everybody is not in it for you, even if they're in your circle or even if they stay in your life. A lot of times people don't want to be lonely and they'd rather just be with you so somebody else doesn't have you, or they just want the company and not anything else. And as people, we really have to learn how to be vulnerable, to be transparent about things. And it's fascinating because someone explained to me that honesty is when somebody asks you a question, you answer it with the truth. But transparency is really being upfront, is bringing up something. You don't even have to ask me. Let me offer you this information because I value you, because I treasure you. And some people will say, well, don't give too much information. If you are going to be in a relationship, you really should start with being as authentic with yourself. And that's the problem, I think, that sometimes we don't even know who we are at the core. So we can't really offer that. We can only offer the facade or the counterfeit of who we are because we have not gotten there. And I really believe that as you get older, you really do change, you really do age. I'm also a firm believer that God created somebody for everyone. And it might not be who you're with today because it might all change in the near future. But I do want to encourage you to pray, to always seek God. He is amazing at opening and closing doors, removing people from your circle, your life. He will make a way for you. For the longest, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm doomed. This is it. And right now, life is good. Happiness is something that you acquire individually and for yourself. And joy is something that's unexplainable that comes from God. But happiness, I have to be happy because nobody else is going to make me happy. And that's very true. But if you enter a relationship with happiness and you're losing your happiness, there's a problem. You're losing your joy, there's a problem. You are losing your peace of mind. You're really not getting anything out of it. Yes, pray, seek counsel, but also God always waits for us to make a move. And until you make the move, he's not going to move in your behalf. Regardless of what the world says, I am a firm believer that God has a plan for everyone, that your mistakes will be redeemed. That God, we can't be preaching a message of unhappiness, but being saved. That just doesn't make any sense to me. So I want to encourage you this week to really think about who you're with. Think about what you've been through. For me, every time I post one of these videos, I think about my life, my choices, where I'm at, how much has changed in regards to how I think about relationships, about men, even about us women. And so honestly, I think that sometimes we're selfish. It's a lot about what we've heard about being taken care of. And in 2020, you basically need 2 checks. And truly to me is about partnership, respect, loyalty, integrity, friendship, and ultimately connection and vulnerability. Meet me at 0 next week. I hope you've had a great one. Be kind to those around you. Create great memories. And we're giving an example to the next person. I know very few marriages. My sister has one of those great marriages that I've seen them. They've grown together. They've been together for a long time, close to 20 years. They've evolved together. They respect each other. They're true friends and partners all around. God bless them and each of you who are striving to be a better human. I will talk to you next week. Meet me at 0. Bye-bye.